This guy is a newcomer who was sent to one of the most notorious prisons in Sioux City. However, no one knows how terrifying he is, so they didn't bother to greet him and even look down on him when he entered the facility. But he didn't back down and even punched those who provoked him. He's not afraid of any gang or council, even one as large as Nguyen Ant's army. When he was happy, he even fought with the prison guards. The reason why this guy has exceptional combat skills is that he used to be a special forces soldier who had just returned home. Despite this, the prison warden dared to harass his girlfriend and even showed him a clip of it. That's why he's in here. Stay tuned to find out more. This guy's name is Ray, a retired special forces soldier who has just returned home after being discharged from service. He underwent rigorous training for 14 years and completed countless high-level missions assigned by his homeland. The number of medals he was awarded is too numerous to count. Despite that, he has a beautiful fiancée named Kenny who waits for him by the river every day hoping for his return. To surprise her, he came back without notifying her and hugged her tightly from behind. He then took out a diamond ring from his pocket and proposed to her. They went home together, but Kenny forgot her diary. Two guys in a Lamborghini drove by and tried to flirt with Kenny even though Ray had returned. They continued teasing her regardless. Ray intended to teach them a lesson for disrespecting Kenny and not respecting their relationship. To make matters worse, one of the guys even pulled down his pants in front of her. Ray rushed forward and punched the guy in the face, but suddenly another person pulled out a knife. Ray effectively stopped him by slamming his head into a car, but unfortunately, the knife ended up plunging into his own stomach, and he died from the injury. The lawyer says that he has been detained for 18 months for the crime of manslaughter, but if he doesn't reform well, he may face up to 6 years in prison. Kenny's wife consoled Ray that she would wait for him to return. However, both of them didn't know that. The other person's background is extremely impressive. He hired a private investigator and found out that Gray was an orphan, so he only sought revenge on him personally. Gray was arranged to be sent to the most notorious prison in the city. Then, the father of the victim went to see the prison director and placed a suitcase full of money on his desk. He said, "I only had one child, and he was killed by that wretched man. I want him to stay here forever." Afterwards, the prison director ordered his subordinates to make sure that Gray committed a crime that would keep him in prison forever. In another scene, Gray was also brought to a warehouse with other prisoners. The prison guards, including the bearded one, started imposing terrifying rules, making it seem like a living hell. One guy was so scared that I felt like crying when the prison guard with a beard told me to take off my pants and shoved it into mouth. Then Gray protested. He hit me in the stomach with a stick. The prison director wanted to meet Gray because he knew that Gray used to be a special forces soldier. Therefore, he called for him to work close with him inside the prison. He wants you to deal with the gangsters who want to oppose the government and frame Gray for their actions. However, with a veteran like Gray, it's not easy to deceive him. Gray refused because he just wants a peaceful life and to be released from prison soon to be with his wife. During outdoor sports, Gray accidentally bumped into a big guy who turned out to be a leader of a vicious gang. Man became angry and attacked Gray, but his punches did not land a single blow. At this moment, another gang arrived and surrounded them. The leader claimed that Gray was his younger brother, and the big guy saw no other option but to leave. So it turns out the gang leader knew that Gray was a special forces soldier and tried to lure him into joining their gang. However, he immediately refused. Suddenly, the guards arrived, so they had to retreat during lunchtime. Gray was constantly harassed by a group of the big guy's underlings, trying to extort him and threatening to kill him when they get the chance. While Gray was taking a shower, suddenly a giant appeared out of nowhere and demanded that Gray serve him, which made Gray extremely angry. If I may say, as soon as he finished his sentence, Gray punched the giant twice, causing him to fall to the ground. However, it was part of the prison guard's plan to make Gray initiate the attack so that they would have an excuse to retaliate against him. The director asked why there was a fight, and Gray explained that the giant had demanded him to serve him, which made him angry and led to the fight. However, the director did not seem to care about Gray's explanation and ordered the guards to continue attacking him. The next day, the head of the guards admonished Gray, reminding him that getting into fight would only increase his sentence. He then arranged for Gray to work in the prison library instead. At the prison, Gray met a new friend who goes by the nickname Lonely, and Clay's real name is David, and he has been sentenced to life in prison. Since then, the two of you have become close friends, regularly confiding in each other through your conversations. Gray has come to realize how tragic David's circumstances are. David told Gray that he used to have a younger brother who was passionate about joining the military, but David himself led him down the path of crime. They robbed a bank together and were shot by the police, resulting in David getting a life sentence. Since then, his wife and children left him, leaving him alone in prison. One day, two prison guards suddenly searched Gray's cell and found a picture of Gray's wife. In order to provoke him, he acted like a pervert with the picture, which made Gray very angry, and he tried to punch him, but was restrained. He even tore the picture of Gray's wife and then released Gray from his restraints. Gray had retaliated against the prison guard. He would have faced additional charges, but he didn't fall into the trap. The person with a beard saw Ray, did not get angry, so she hit me. The young prison guard saw his her colleague abusing her power, so she intervened to help Gray escape from a predicament. Recently, half a year has passed, and finally, my wife came to visit me, but neither of us have been able to say 3 sentences. The guards took me into a room and mocked me with malicious words. I could only suppress my anger, or else I would fall into their trap and be imprisoned for life. Unable to do anything to Ray, the giant turned to the boy who had arrived at the camp on the same day with Ray earlier. The boy was beaten up by them. At that moment, Ray arrived and had a fierce fight with the giant, rendering him unable to fight back. At that moment, a younger member in the crowd threw out a knife. The bulky guy, who was used to dirty fighting, picked up the knife and immediately challenged Ray, but with the experience of a special forces soldier, Ray was not intimidated. Suddenly, the warden arrived and struck the big guy, who fell to the ground. Seeing this, the crowd quickly dispersed and the disturbance was brought to an end. At that moment, the leader invited Ray and praised him, trying to recruit him to their group. The leader asked Ray why he had helped that kid. Ray explained that he had previously fought against terrorism in the Taliban, where there were more corpses than prisoners in here, but he had accidentally shot an innocent boy and felt immense regret, which was why he helped that kid. Upon arriving, Ray's name commanded even more respect. Suddenly, the bald guy spoke up and summarized by asking whether you had joined their gang or not. He then proclaimed that you weren't qualified enough to speak with him. Upon hearing this, the bald guy became angry and tried to retaliate, but he couldn't do anything, so he left. The next day, the leader asked to meet Ray to confide in him about their life. Suddenly, the big guy walked over and made threatening remarks towards Ray. The leader told Ray that in prison, one needed the support of a tough gang to live peacefully. The director of the prison came up with a plan to prevent Ray from working in the library, and instead assigned him to clean the floors of the restroom. This moment, a thug appeared and tried to bully Gray, but Gray fought back and defeated him easily. At this very moment, the name of the guard and the director appeared, and they released the prisoner, pinning all the charges on Gray. They took out a 50-centimeter stick and stabbed it straight into Gray's anus, causing him to be in excruciating pain and almost fainting. However, I don't know why they treated me unfairly like that. Not only that, they also pressed your head into the toilet bowl to drink water. The young prison guard felt that this scene was unacceptable but could not help Gray. Gray was nauseous and felt that living was worse than dying. They also took him into the bathroom and sprayed him with a high-pressure water hose, causing Gray to feel a painful sensation all over his body. The two prison guards burst out laughing.